Hello, my name is Madeline, and welcome to this 60-minute yin yoga class for hip and heart opening. If you like to use props in your class, you can grab a couple of blocks and maybe a pillow or a bolster, but if you don't have them, it's all good. And we'll get right into it. Let's start with a little bit of breath. You can take 3 deep breaths just to ground into the space. You can exhale all the air out now. Take a big inhale through the nose, and then exhale out the mouth. Inhaling through the nose, and exhale out the mouth. Take one more inhale through the nose, then big sigh out the mouth. Before getting into our yin, we'll do a tiny bit of movement. Start to bring the hands to the knees, and as you inhale, begin to arch the spine up towards the sky, looking up, then round the back as you exhale. So doing some seated cat-cows, maybe taking any kind of fluid movement that feels good in the body, so maybe some circles in one direction and then the other direction. And just moving like this for a couple more breaths. And return back to center whenever you're ready. And we'll get into our first yin pose, which will be a reclining butterfly. So you can start to lay it back down on your mat. If you have a pillow here, you might want to use it to place underneath both the knees. That can feel like a really nice, gentle opening. Either way, start to bring the soles of the feet together in front of you. And rest all the way down to the mat. Option here, if you have blocks, to grab a couple blocks and place them underneath those knees. It can feel really nice to use props here, especially in the beginning of class, just to make this a bit more gentle. And settling into whatever posture you've chosen. And breathing deeply here. And just notice how your body is feeling here, how the mind is feeling, how the heart is feeling. These hip opening and heart opening postures can really bring up a lot of emotions. So, something to be mindful of as we go throughout practice. Try to observe and just observe without judgment anything that arises. And we'll take a couple more breaths here. And on your last breath, slowly start to remove any props if you were using them. And bring the hands to the outside of the thighs and really gently start to draw those knees back together and bring them into the chest, maybe rocking a few times side to side here. Can feel really nice to release that low back and upper back. And return back to center whenever you're ready, and we'll make our way into a reclining pigeon. So you can bring both feet down on the mat and start to draw that right leg up, and then place the right ankle on the left thigh. If this feels good and this is enough, you can stay here. That's great. If you want to go a little further, you can pick that left leg up and start to draw it in towards the chest. An option to grab behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Doing whatever works for you. So you should really feel a nice opening in that outer right hip here. I'm trying to find a place where you can be still as opposed to trying to go super deep. Trying to send the breath to that right hip. And we'll take a couple more breaths here. Taking one more breath and staying in this reclining pigeon shape. And we're going to come into a reclining pigeon twist. So start to drop those knees over to the left, and then that right foot is going to plant down on the ground. So that right knee is going to be shooting up, and then the left leg will be on the mat. And from here, you can reach that right arm out into a T shape or cactus. And if this just doesn't feel good in the body, you can come into a regular double leg twist here. So just listening to whatever feels right. If you want some more hip opening, maybe you go for that reclining pigeon twist. If not, that's all good too. Maybe you want to grab that right ankle with your left hand. And settling into the shape. And take one more breath here in whichever variation of a twist you're in. And slowly start to draw the knees back to center. You can come out of that reclining pigeon shape. Maybe you want to stretch those legs out long, shaking them out a little bit, or hugging the knees into the chest and rocking a little side to side. And return back to center whenever you're ready. And we'll take a little break in between those two sides and come into a supported bridge. So this is where you're going to want to grab that block. Both feet are going to be down on the mat. And slowly start to lift those hips up and slide the block under, starting at the lowest height. So it's right on that sacrum, tailbone area. Make sure it's not on the lower back. And you can adjust the height of the block to whatever feels good. But maybe starting off with the lowest setting just to feel it out. And you can stay here. If you like some more opening in the front of the hips, you can start to stretch those legs out long in front of you. And if you want some more opening in that chest, you can reach the arms up above and then take hold of opposite elbows. So really a stretch for the whole front body. And wherever you are, trying to bring your attention to the breath. And let go of any tension, anything you're holding on to in the body. Let everything surrender here. And with every breath, try to let go a little bit more. And start to take one last breath here. And if you had opposite elbows clasped, beginning to let that go, bringing the arms back down to your sides. And if the legs are stretched out long, starting to draw those feet back in towards you, taking your time. And gently beginning to lift those hips up and slide that block out from underneath you. And slowly lowering back down to the mat. Bringing the block over to the side. Maybe you want to hug the knees into the chest or take a couple windshield wipers here, rocking the knees from side to side before we go into that little reclining pigeon sequence on the other side. So coming back to center whenever you're ready and keeping both feet down on the mat. This time, lifting that left leg up and bringing the left ankle to the top of that right thigh. You can stay here or start to draw the right knee in towards the chest, maybe taking hold of the thigh or in front of the shin. And knowing that each side can feel really different, so it's totally okay if you're doing something different than you did on that other side. And again, try to breathe into that outer left hip. And we'll take a couple more breaths here. And then staying in this reclining pigeon shape, start to drop those knees over to the right so that that left foot is going to come down onto the floor. So you're really in this same shape, but just feet on the ground. Then you can reach the left arm out into a cactus shape or a T shape, whatever feels good. Option again to just go for a double leg twist if this reclining pigeon twist does not feel good in your body or you just don't feel like doing it. And breathe into the twist. Maybe take hold of the left ankle with that right hand if that feels good. And let's take a couple more breaths here. And whenever you're ready, gently bringing those knees back to center, releasing that reclining pigeon shape. Maybe you want to hug the knees into the chest, rocking side to side, or whenever you're ready, maybe you want to rock back and forth on your mat and meet in a tabletop position, which should feel pretty nice after all that lying on the mat. And once you're in tabletop, you can take some cat-cows here, or maybe take any kind of movement that feels good. So again, you can always go for those circles, just listening intuitively to whatever the body is needing. And take one more breath in your movement. And then return back to stillness on your mat. And we'll make our way into a melting heart pose. So in melting heart, you want to try to keep the knees and the hips in one line. And whenever you're ready, start to walk the hands towards the top of the mat. And then start to draw your chest down. Maybe the forehead touches the mat. Maybe you grip the top of the mat with your fingers for some more shoulder opening. If you feel any pain, any discomfort in those arms, you can always spread them wider on the mat. And settle in and breathe into that upper body, into the shoulders. And this can be a little intense sometimes, so remembering not to hold in the breath or clench. And we'll take a couple more breaths here, making the breath super deep and slowly staying low to the ground. Whenever you're ready, begin to slide back into a child's pose with the knees together and the arms reaching out behind you. You can always go for a wide leg child's pose too if you prefer, but this can feel nice just to let the shoulders relax a little bit after that intense upper body pose. In child's, option to rock the forehead side to side on the mat. And then pause here for a few moments. Again, noticing how the body is feeling, how you're feeling in the heart as well. And take one more breath in child's pose. And slowly start to press back up onto those hands, taking your time. It can be really tempting to just stay there for a long time. If you want to, feel free to do that. But if you want to keep going, come into a seated position and then start to bring those legs out long. We're going to come into a caterpillar pose. So in caterpillar, you can bend your knees as much as you like. The deeper you bend your knees, the more of a lower back stretch it'll be. And the straighter your legs are, the more of a hamstring opening it'll be. So it's up to you, whatever you feel like going for today. And whenever you're ready, reach those arms up to the ceiling and start to fold forward over the legs, letting the hands fall wherever they fall. Option as well to bring a block in between the legs for your forehead to rest on. And caterpillar is great for opening that whole back body. So imagine the breath traveling all along the entirety of your back. And maybe you fold forward a little bit more with each breath. And let's take just a couple more breaths in caterpillar. Whenever you're ready, taking your time, begin to slowly roll back up. No rush. Maybe bring the hands behind you and go for a couple of windshield wipers here, rocking the knees from side to side. And then return back to center whenever you're ready. And we're going to come into a half butterfly with a side bend here. So first we're going to reach that right leg out long. You might want to come to face long ways on the mat. And then that left foot is going to be in that butterfly shape, facing towards your right thigh. So just here, that might feel like enough. You might want to just fold over that right leg. If you like a side bend here, you might want to grab a block, place it along that right thigh for your forearm, and then reach the left arm up to the sky and start to reach for that right foot. You don't need to touch it at all. It's more about creating the opening in the chest. And again, if you prefer, you can just fold forward over the right leg. That's great too. Just depends on what kind of stretch you're looking for today. So finding whatever position feels good for you and settling into the pose. If you're in that side bend, we try to bring the heart a little more towards the sky. And start to take one last breath here. If you're in that side bend, slowly making your way back up. No rush, removing the block if you're using it. And then draw that right leg back into center. And pause here in a seated position for a couple breaths before we go into that other side. And notice the difference between the two sides here. And whenever you're ready, we'll make our way into that half butterfly, potentially with a side bend on the other side. So this time reaching the left leg out long on the mat And then drawing that right leg into that butterfly-like shape. An option, if you prefer to just go for a forward fold over the left leg, you can go for that. If you'd like to go for that side bend, option 2, bring a block against the thigh, place the left forearm on the block, then reach those right arm or the right arm up. Maybe try to reach it towards the left toes. No need to use the block if it's not working for you. And try to draw the chest up towards the sky. And breathe deeply. Take one more breath in the side bend or folding forward. And slowly begin to make your way up. Be really gentle here. And slowly start to draw that left leg back to center. Again, you can go for a couple windshield wipers here and rock those knees from side to side. The body should be feeling really open by now. And come back to center whenever you're ready. And we're going to come into a supported fish. So again, you'll want to use your blocks here. If you don't have blocks, this is going to be a heart opener. So option to go for a Sphinx pose here or come back into that reclining butterfly. If you do have those blocks, you're going to want to bring the first one about 2/3 the way up the mat. Maybe start with it on that medium height, then bring the other one towards the back of the mat, maybe on the tallest height, and you can adjust the heights to whatever works best for you. And come into a seat in front of those blocks and start to lean back so that your mid upper back is going to be on that first block. And then the back of your head will come to that top block. So maybe taking a couple breaths to adjust, find whatever height and position works best for you. Let those arms drape out to the sides. And you can either come into a butterfly-like shape in the legs, bringing the soles of the feet together, or stretch those legs out long. Take a few moments to find a place where you can be still, find a place that feels comfortable, and then surrender into the shape. Feeling the openness in the heart, the openness to receive, and let go whatever is no longer serving you. Let it melt off the body. Remembering your deep breathing. And we'll take 2 more breaths in this pose. And slowly taking your time, begin to press back up onto those forearms and then back up onto the hands. If you're in Sphinx, come back down onto your back. Remove those blocks out from underneath you. And then slowly coming back down to the mat. And pause here for a couple breaths. Just noticing the effects of that pose We're not in Shavasana quite yet, but letting the body observe here. And from here, we'll come into one last pose before Shavasana, which is going to be a waterfall pose. So if you have that block, you're going to want to grab it again. If you don't have the block, it's all good. And start to slide the block underneath those hips, so back on that sacrum and tailbone area. And then simply start to lift the legs up to the sky. So if you don't have a block, you can just reach the legs up without the block underneath you. If you have a wall near you, you can go for legs up the wall pose. And try to let any remaining stress or tension go. Imagine it just falling off the body from the legs. Let everything go. And take one more breath in waterfall or legs up the wall. And really slowly start to bring those legs back down. You can gently lift the hips up if you're using the block and slide it out from underneath you. And from here, take any final poses or movement your body is needing before Shavasana. So maybe you want to go for a happy baby or a snail. And whenever you're ready, no rush at all. Begin to stretch the legs out long. Let the arms drape out to the sides. Laying on your back, surrendering into the earth for your final resting pose, Shavasana. And if you have time, I encourage you to stay in this Shavasana for as long as you like. But if you have to get going, we'll close with one last breath. Exhale all the air out now. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And a big sigh out the mouth. And thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you're feeling more open in the heart and in the hips. And if you'd like to see more yin yoga classes like this, please subscribe to my channel and let me know how this went in the comments. And I'll see you again next time.